excited. Today I'm doing my January wrap-up. We're going to talk about what we read, the rating, and what we thought about it. The first book I read this month was My Plain Jane. I don't have the book with me as it is being lent to my grandmother right now. I'll show a little picture right here of it. My Plain Jane was a Jane Eyre retelling. It follows Jane Eyre, and it follows her friend Helen. It follows Charlotte Bronte, and the funny twist about everything in this book was that most of the characters are ghosts, ghost hunters. And yes, of course, Jane does fall in love with Mr. Rochester, and yes, they do marry, because at the very beginning of the book it says, and yes, reader, they do marry or fall in love, and whatever it says at that beginning. It was so funny. The first retelling I've ever read. You all know I love Jane Eyre. One of my top favorites. It was just so funny. I would give it a 4.3, 4.5 rating. There wasn't anything I didn't like about it. It was all different and the same. And it was just a very good, well-written retelling. It was great. I really liked it.
The first book I read was The Royal We, and I loved it. I would give it a 5 out of 5 stars. I couldn't put it down. It was really good. It was funny, and it was just a really good read, and I love it. I love it a lot, and I highly recommend it. I could not put it down. I finished it in about 2 to 3 days, but I loved it.
The second book I read was Lady Catherine and the Earl and the Riddle Downton Abbey. I actually read this one before Lady Almina on accident, thinking, I honestly wasn't thinking. Pretty good book. I didn't love it, I didn't hate it. I would give it a 3.54 rating out of 5. I felt like it dragged a little bit, and it wasn't exactly boring. It just wasn't exciting. I like exciting books, and I like the different things that would happen in a book. And yes, I had that, but I just felt like it was kind of bland the whole way through. I mean, it's not a bad thing, I guess, but yeah, I liked it. Not my favorite, but I did like it.
The second book series I was reading was the Delirium series, and I did finish the first book, and I'm about halfway through the second book, Pandemonium. I dropped the book, sorry. And I did not get through to Requiem and the little novellas afterward. A lot of time, and I was busy with work. To be completely honest, they're not my favorite. I think I would give it a 2 to 3.5. They kind of drug a little bit, and which is why it was boring. So it took me a long time to read them. I was going to try to finish them before January ended, but I did not because I got busy and they were boring. Mom, it wasn't horrible, but it just...
You wouldn't read them again.
I wouldn't read them again, yeah. And I am going to finish them because I need to finish something I started. So, but I would say, I think the last 20-25 pages of Delirium, it did get really good. It was super kind of intense, like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And then something happened I did not want to happen, and that made me very mad. I won't say what it is so I don't give any spoilers, but it wasn't horrible. I don't know. Hopefully it gets better because I want to read them.
I want to interject. What I feel about some fantasy stories and series that continue on and on through different prequels and sequels, they don't get good until the last, like Emily said, 20-25 pages where it's intense and exciting, and that's not the type of series I want to read, because I don't want to be like forcing myself to read something when it's not exciting. And
it wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't horrible, and then the second book just kind of fell apart. So we'll just see how it goes from there.
But don't force yourself to read something, because if you force yourself to read something, you're not going to enjoy it, and that's not the type of book reader you want to be.
Yeah.
The third and last book I read was Lady Almina and the Riddle Downton Abbey. I like this one a little more than Lady Catherine. The one thing I didn't like about this book was that it focused on the hospital a little too much. It was just chapters and chapters and chapters, which isn't a bad thing. It was a great thing. Too much on that one thing, and it didn't really talk about other kids more, you know. I don't know. It just wasn't my favorite. I did not end up reading The Tenant of Wildfell Hall. I didn't really have time to read it. and My Plain Jane was a little bit shorter and just quicker to read, and I knew that The Tenant of Wildfell Hall would just take a while because those books are more intense, and they're, 1800 writing, and that would take a while to read because it's just more to focus on, so I'm going to save that for a different month for when I do like a combined video of all the books by the Bronte sisters. Okay, y'all, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I had a great time reading these books over the month of January. I'm looking forward to February. Let me know in the comments below what you read and if you have read any of these books. And if you did, tell me what you thought about them. I would love to know your thoughts. That's all for this video. I'll be back soon for my February TV haul. No.
Okay, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Bye!